Welcome to Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, home of the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway. Our train rides have been growing in popularity every year, but one common question I often get when I'm working here is, what's the difference between the different types of cars? Now, we used to just offer standard and open air cars. It was relatively straightforward and simple, but in the last couple of years, we've offered some really nice new options for you and your family and friends to ride in. And I want to talk about those as well as our standard class today. I'm going to give you a walkthrough of every type of car on this train, including our newer Crown Class, Vista Class Dome Cars, and for this winter, it's the first time we've done this, our first class lounge car, the Mauch Club. And so let's take a walk through this train so you can see what you might be interested in riding in when we take it north into beautiful Lehigh Gorge State Park. Alright, and we are going to start our tour with the absolute coolest car on the train. This is the number 8 Mauch Club First Class Lounge Car. And this is a real rare treat to have on the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway. We put it on Black Friday last year. It will be on until mid-April. I'll caption the date at the bottom of the screen. And this car is probably like nothing else you have ever ridden in. It was built in 1918 by Pullman as a standard 88-seat coach car, but in 1952 it was remodeled into this spectacular lounge car. And guys, this was first-class comfort in the 1950s, and I'm going to maintain that it is still first-class comfort today. You can see the car is very spacious. It's like riding in your living room. You've got these very comfortable seats with armrests. You could sit, you could have a conversation with your neighbors. You can look out that window. You can look out that window. You've got end tables for your stuff. And this car is heated and air conditioned. The windows do not open, but you will be comfortable year round. It rides very smooth, very quiet. I've actually personally not ridden it while it's on the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway, but I did spend a day as car host in this car, going from Reading to Jim Thorpe and back behind steam locomotive 2102. And I can tell you, this car, the ride in it is a real treat. Now, speaking of treats, if you buy a ticket for this car, you're also going to get a complimentary snack and beverage, one per guest. You can see we have a selection of juices, waters, sodas, and a whole bunch of different snacks here. You get to pick whatever you like. And that is unique to riding in the first class lounge car. And then on the other side of the car, we again have very similar seating. We have these little dinette tables. You can sit and enjoy your drink and snack. Or we've got these very comfortable lounge chairs that you can sit and enjoy your ride. And one other extra little bonus on this end of car number 8, because it was designed also as an observation car, is you do have these little windows. Now, for the month of February, we will be running the F units, so all you'll see is the back of the F units. But if we were doing the runaround, once the diesel detached in Old Penhaven and we returned to Jim Thorpe, you would have an unobstructed view out these windows. Now, this car is put on occasional passenger trains running from Reading to Jim Thorpe and back, possibly Pittston to Jim Thorpe and back. Usually we would put these in the consist when we have the Iron Horse Rambles or the fall foliage trips. You would not find these on the typical weekend trains. But if you don't get your chance to ride it while it's on the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway, keep an eye open for those other options as the year goes on.
Hi folks, what car do you have?
And this is another upgraded class of seating here. This is called Crown Class. And we have a couple of cars in this class. Any car that you see numbered 400 or 500 series are Crown Class cars. This one happens to be number 450, the Pagoda. And the seats in these cars are going to be more comfortable than standard. That's mainly what you're paying for. And in the summer, these cars are air conditioned. So you've got these nice padded tour bus style seats. Some face forward, some face back. The ride does go out and back, so you'll be going forward one way, backward the other. Or you can move seats if the car's not crowded. And these seats in the middle here, we do reserve these for groups of 4. And that's just the configuration of this car. The interesting thing about Crown Class is each car is a little bit different. And we're going to walk into car 453 next, which actually happens to be my personal favorite. And you're going to see another option. So this is car 453, Pulpit Rock. And I'll tell you why I love this car, guys. I love the color on these seats. I love this dark red. And these seats are very, very plush. This is a very nice velour. They've got these armrests. You have a middle armrest you can put down on it. And last year, this car spent most of the year on the Pittston train. That's the one that runs every weekend from Pittston to Jim Thorpe and back. So we didn't have it on the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway. And this year you are getting to enjoy it. There are some groups these seats are turned a little bit differently. And that's what's nice. Everybody can really pick and choose how they ride. This car has a lot more groups of 4 seats on them. If you're with a family, a lot of times families like to ride facing each other there. And this car is a little bit unique in terms of Crown Class in that it's one of the few cars that does have opening windows. Most of our Crown Class cars, the windows do stay shut. They are heated, they are air conditioned, but it's also a nice option to be able to open the window. And if you're somebody who likes to film the trips like I do recommend a car with opening windows, because then you're not dealing with the glare off the windows. And moving through the train, we come to our most popular class of cars, and that's the Vista Class Dome Car. Reading and Northern has 3 of these cars. 2 of them are on the train today, and the first one we come to is the number 6 Scenic View. And this car is an absolute beauty. It's got this beautiful etching on the glass. And let's go up to the upper deck where you'll be riding. This was built in 1954 by the Budd Car Company for the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad as car number 511. It has also been on the Amtrak Auto Train, and it was in Alaska on the McKinley Explorer. So you've got a great view out the front windows, and you've got these side windows. What's nice, people are always asking what side of the train to sit on. Well, guys, in this class, it really doesn't matter because no matter where you sit, you get to see out both sides of the train. Now, the interiors of each of our domes are a little bit different. This particular one happens to feature dinette and lounge tables and seating. And this is very comfortable padded seating. It does have armrests that can flip up. And this is a car, I typically see families enjoying this car. They like to bring their snacks, their drinks on board. And a lot of people ask that, can you bring food and drink aboard this train? Yes, you can. We just ask that you not bring alcohol. So this is what you'll get if you choose to ride inside our dome number 6, the Scenic View. These dome cars are heated and cooled for year-round comfort, but the only downside is if you're pretty serious about taking some photos, you will have to deal with sun glare. I found that it's not a problem if you have a cloudy day, but on a beautiful sunny day like today, if your priority is taking photos, that might be something you want to consider. Hey. And although all of our passengers ride on the upper deck, I want to give you a look at the lower deck on this car because I think it is absolutely stunning. We have additional sets of dinette tables with these beautiful lamps with these etched mirrors. This is my favorite basement of any of the dome cars. This car is just an absolute beauty. And if you want to know what luxury travel was like back in the heyday of railroading, guys, this is it. Now I mentioned that we have 2 of these Vista Dome cars on today, and this is the second one. This is the one that the railroad has actually owned the longest. This is the number 4 Lehigh Gorge Explorer, and as you'll see, it's a pretty different design than the number 6 Scenic View. And this car, in my opinion, has the most comfortable seats in the entire fleet. It's this beautiful green velour, same kind of fabric as the Crown Class number 453. But you got these really nice sculpted headrests. And these seats can recline a little bit. And you'll notice the windows are a little bit different. They're kind of narrow and tall versus short and long. You get the same good view out the front. In fact, you can see the back of number 6 from here. And this car was built in 1952 by the Pullman Company. It was originally car number 55 on the Milwaukee Road, and it ran in the consist of their long-distance Hiawatha trains. Our third dome, which is not on the train today, is another of these same models, also built in 1952, and it was Milwaukee Road number 59. The interior of number 5 is more like car number 6 we just walked through, so this is our only dome that has your more coach style seating. And this car is very spacious. Again, whichever side you decide to sit on, you get views in every direction. And you've also got a little bit of standing room. I mean, yes, you get a seat, but if you want to stand up during your trip to see the other side, you can do that at one of these spaces in the front or the back. You got some extra room back here, and you can also get a good view out the rear window. Now if you are curious, I'll show you the basement on this car. It's a little bit different than number 6. And again, if you buy a ticket for these cars, you will be riding up top. But a lot of people are curious what's down here. And this is another little set of dinette tables. These domes were originally used as dining and lounge cars on the long-distance trains. So back in the day, people didn't necessarily buy a ticket for these cars. But while they were on the train, they had access to them. You could see each of them had their own kitchen as well. Now moving to the final class of car that's available on today's train, we come to standard coach. This one happens to be car number 213. And this is usually the car that our narrator is in. If you've ever been curious where he or she sits, it would be in this car here. In this car, you could probably hear the heater running. It's about 34 degrees outside today, guys, with the wind blowing. So it's a lot colder than it looks, but I gotta tell you, it's cozy, warm in here. It's very nice. So this is the car that if you do need to use the lift to get in and out of, we have some reserved seating for you here. So you only have to go as far as that door to get to the lift. We do have a restroom on board. That is true of most cars in this fleet. Now the standard coach here does have a couple of unique features. For example, it is the only car on today's train where you can change the direction of the seat backs. So when we get to Old Penhaven and we're going to return to Jim Thorpe, you can flip your seat so that you're facing forward riding back, or you could just flip it the entire ride so you can face your family or friends. And the seat backs are pretty easy to flip, but if you need help, one of our car hosts is always happy to help you with that. The other nice thing about riding in standard is you do have these nice tall windows, and these windows open here, guys. I can't open them, obviously I'm holding the camera, you do need 2 hands to do it, but if you like to film, it's a good way to open the window. And then you can get some good photos and videos without worrying about the sun glare. It's also good for fresh air during the warmer months. These cars are heated, but these are the only class of cars on today's train that are not air conditioned. So be aware of that if you're visiting in the summer. And we've got our sound system for the narrator here. And we do have brochures on board the train if you want to learn more about this train, the bike train, our Pittston, or Reading to Jim Thorpe excursions. There's information for you here. Now we do have 2 different styles of standard cars. This is the 200 series of cars. This is number 215. It's almost identical to 213 that we just walked through. The seats are a little bit different. You do have these handles which make them a little easier to flip. And these cars were built in 1931 by Bethlehem Steel in Delaware. And they were originally built for the Reading Railroad, so they've got some relevant history to us here. The other interesting thing about these cars is they were what were called EMUs, electrical multiple units. Yes, this car could once move under its own power. They had the electrical equipment and pantographs up on the roof that would get the power from the overhead catenaries. And this would have run down in the Philadelphia area where those lines are electrified. Our lines here obviously are not electrified, but we've taken all the electrical equipment off and we just use these as standard coaches. There's also our 300 series coaches, which are not on the train today, but similarly, they were actually built a little bit sooner. They were built in 1917, but similarly, they were EMUs that could run under their own electric power. And you can see that even though these are our least expensive options, they're still very clean, spacious, and comfortable. And when you're getting in and out of these cars with the vestibule, a lot of people don't realize this. We would open up this door for you to board. The controls are gone now, but this is where the engineer would have operated these cars back in the Reading days. This would have been the front window. And then you would have had your conductor here on the other side. We have the handbrake there. Now, last but not least, has got to be everybody's favorite car, and that's the CABOOSE. Now today, the only reason the CABOOSE is on this train, apart from looks, I mean, let's face it guys, you gotta have a CABOOSE, right? Is for the conductor to use as a shoving platform. We are pulling today's train with the diesel F units, and that means we don't do the runaround in Old Penhaven. So this train, in layman's terms, would have to go backwards into Jim Thorpe. Now you can imagine the engineer, he's not going to be able to see where he's going. So the conductor goes on the back platform with his radio, and he's the eyes and ears of the engineer. Now in the warmer months, you, your friends and family can buy tickets to ride inside this CABOOSE. It does have room for up to 6 passengers. And it's a flat rate price regardless of how many are riding that day. So I'll just give you a quick tour. It's like having your own private coach. Whether you buy one ticket or all 6, nobody else will get the other tickets. You and your party will have this CABOOSE to yourself for the trip. And these CABOOSEs used to be used by the rail crews. And you probably would have had bunk beds here, but we just have the single one now. You could lay down and nap on it, but you're going to miss all the good sights, or you could just sit on it as a comfortable bench. The really cool thing, guys, is climbing up in the cupola. And you can climb up there and sit up there. It's kind of like having your own private dome car. See, we do have some sun glare on this side. Those side windows do open, so you do get a fresh breeze. The CABOOSE is heated, but not air conditioned. You got a small table here, you can have a picnic. This heater was just installed last year. Very, very warm and comfortable. And the other nice thing, if you do ride in the CABOOSE, is you are allowed to come out on the front and back platform. Now that's a ride you can't really get on any of the other cars. So as the train goes up to Old Penhaven, you would have a clear, unobstructed view the entire way. And as it returns on the days that we do the runaround, you would be looking at the diesels, but that's also cool because you get a front row view of the diesel coupling to the train in Old Penhaven. That's a pretty unique experience. But today nobody will be riding back here except the conductor. And as I described before, this would be used as the shoving platform. You could see that he or she would have a clear, unobstructed view on the return trip to Jim Thorpe. And they would just radio to the engineer what's going on so that the train could be operated safely. Well, thank you for taking the tour of the train with me. And if you're ready to ride the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway, you can either visit the ticket office in Jim Thorpe to buy your tickets in person. One of our friendly ticket agents will be happy to help you. Or you can buy tickets online at www.lgsry.com, or you can call one of our ticket agents at 610-562-2102. Popular cars like Crown and Dome do tend to sell out, particularly on the weekends. So I highly recommend you buy your tickets in advance online if possible. And when you get here to Jim Thorpe, visit one of our ticket agents and they will be happy to print those tickets out for you so that you can board our train. Thank you for coming along for the tour, and we hope to see you on board the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway soon.